Do you realize what happened in the 1894 season with Hugh Duffy? Ken Artizone here, Vista, California, Friday, February 21st, 2025. Hugh Duffy, Baseball Hall of Fame, did something in 1894 is one of the greatest batting average achievements in a single season in baseball history. Among 15,000 players that have come through the National and the American Leagues, and even the Negro Leagues, Hugh Duffy accomplished something that was incredible, unmatched, and his record, his batting average record, will not be broken. Even 100 years from now, it will not be broken. Why? Let's get into it. 1894, Hugh Duffy, 125 games. So he missed 29 of them. Too bad. He was on a roll this season. 539 at-bats. Keep that in mind. My criteria to judge a baseball player's achievement for a single season has to be 500 or more at-bats. If you do that and you accomplish something, I will take notice. 539 at-bats. Keep that in mind. 160 runs scored. The sixth year in a row over 100 runs scored. He had another season where he had 161 runs scored. Now listen, it was 125 games. He scores 160 times. More than a run scored per game played that year. I like this stat. 237 hits in 125 games. If he had played 154 games, and let's say he averages more than a hit a game, which he was doing, he missed 29 games. If you have a 154 game season, he missed 29 of them. Add 29 more hits to 237 that he got. That's 266 hits. Now, what if he did even better? He got 2 hits a game, maybe 3 hits a game. But then he had an over, but then he came back 3 or 4 hits in a game. It's possible that if Hugh Duffy in 1894 had played 154 games, it's possible he would have been over 270 hits. That's the pace that he was on that season. Whoa. 51 doubles. If you get 30 doubles in a season, you're good. 40 makes you very good. What does 51 do? It gives you into a new stratosphere of greatness. 16 triples. That's a lot. 18 home runs. That's pretty good. He gets 145 runs batted in. I like that. That's the third time over 100. 48 stolen bases. He gets 66 walks. So remember, out of his 237 hits, none of the walks were counted as hits. They didn't do that in 1894. Some of the other odd seasons before that, 1880s or whatever odd year it was, they counted walks as hits, but not this 1894 season. This is legitimate. 48 stolen bases, 66 walks. Listen to this number. You better be sitting down if you don't know it. If you're a baseball purist, you will know it. He batted. His batting average for the season, when it was done, 440. Take a pause for a second here. For a guy to bat 400 in a season, and it has been done, a lot of guys, Ty Cobb, Rogers Hornsby, Ed Delonte, George Sisler, they all did it. Got 400, even Ted Williams did it. If you just get over 400, you're in a stratosphere that a lot of players can't achieve. They can bat 300, 350, 380. You reach that magic 400 mark, you're good. Hugh Duffy not only passes 400, but gets to 440 batting average, 237 hits, and 539 at bat. Legit. Now, if you had told me he batted 440 with 100 at bats, I would scoff at that and say, come on, it's only 100 at bats. If it's 200 at bats, even 300 at bats, I would still kind of cough at it. But if you get 539 at bats and you bat 440, you have achieved something that nobody else in baseball history was able to do with 500 at bats. .502 on base. 50% of the time he was on base. .694 slugging, and he gets 374 total bases. He goes 5 for 5 of what I like. What do I like? 100 runs scored. Hugh Duffy, 160. 200 hits. Hugh Duffy, 237. 100 RBIs. Hugh Duffy, 145. 300 or better batting average. Hugh Duffy, 440. 300 or more total bases. Hugh Duffy, 374. 5 for 5 in 1894. I'm still overwhelmed by the 440 batting average that season. It's on Baseball Reference if you want to look it up. Hugh Duffy, Baseball Reference, 1894. Now, there's another site at Baseball Reference. It says career batting average leaders. If you go to that site, it'll list the career leaders. But if you click on, what I did was, you click on other batting average leaders there, and it says single season. Click on that. All time, they say these are the batting average single season leaders. What in the world are they doing here? They have Hugh Duffy, number 5 all time. What? So I did a little deeper digging. The first guy they list is Tetsuo Vargas. In 1943, batted .471. What? So I clicked on his name. 1943. He had 121 at-bats. Give me a break, Baseball Reference. You guys made a mistake. You can't list Vargas as the number 1 batting average leader of all time. You got to have a criteria. My criteria is 500 at-bats, not plate appearances. The AB, at-bats, legitimate at-bats. Do you understand the terminology? At-bat, 500 you need. Vargas only had 121. So erase his name, okay? Nothing against the guy. Number 2, they list Josh Gibson in 1943, had 302 plate appearances. That's plate appearances. How about the at-bats? He batted .466 in 1943, but it's 249 at-bats. That's more than Vargas, but it's only half of what Duffy did. 249. Now, he had a year that year, Gibson. 249 at-bats. He had 116 hits. Whoa. You give him 500 at-bats, he would have been in the right to 240s in hits, maybe 250 in hits. Could he have maintained .466? We don't know, because he didn't have enough at-bats to qualify in my estimation. And it should be Baseball Reference estimation. So you got to scratch off Josh Gibson's .466. Good average. It's only 249 at-bats. Am I making myself clear? Number 3, they list Lyman Bostock, batted .466 in 1941. You want to hear something even more ridiculous? When he batted .466, he only had 73 at bats. All right, we'll just cross his name off. That doesn't make sense. Charlie Smith is ranked number 4. In 1929, he batted .451. That would have beat Duffy's .440. But wait a minute. 246 at bats. Only half of what Duffy did. We got to cross his name out. He had a good year going. 111 hits and 246 at bats. Give him 500. He's in the 220, 230 hits. Could he have maintained .451? We don't know. And in my estimation, he is not number 4 all time. So, Duffy is in the 5th spot, .440. In my estimation, Hugh Duffy is the number 1 batting average leader and accomplishment of all time, based on 500 or more at bats. He batted .440 in 1894 with, I'll repeat it again, 539 at bats. .440. Have I made myself clear? Scratch off Vargas, Gibson, Bostock, and Smith. They are not the top 4 of all time. Hugh Duffy is in the number 1 spot. And Baseball Reference, shame on you for listing those 4 guys with small amounts of at-bats. You need to have a disclaimer at the top of your chart saying minimum 500 at-bats. Is that fair or unfair? Nothing against the players, but you can't bat .470, which is 200 at-bats. All right. So the 1894 season of Hugh Duffy has to be considered one of the greatest batting average seasons among 15,000 baseball players that have come through the big leagues since 1871 up through 2025 season, which is coming up. And Hugh Duffy established a record that will not be broken. No one is even coming close to batting .400. The last guy legitimately close had to be Tony Gwynn's 1994 season, right? He was batting .394. George Brett was about .390. Other than that, nobody's approaching .400, not even close. Gwynn in that 1994 season, unfortunately, there was a baseball strike and they stopped playing in August. They didn't even play the rest of the middle of August. It stopped playing. They didn't play about, I'd say, 45 more games. If Gwynn could have gotten on a roll and pushed over .400, that would have been significant, but it didn't happen. Hugh Duffy, Baseball Hall of Fame. Props. Not bad. Pretty good. All right, next video. I'm done ranting and raving. I'm really upset at Baseball Reference for listing those 4 guys ahead of Duffy. Duffy's number 1. Batting average season. If you're going to list single season, Duffy is number 1. If you're going to list career batting average leaders, Cobb is number 1, 366. 11,000 at bats. All right, next video. The 1895 season. Let's see what Duffy does after his historic, unparalleled Titanic, 1894 season. Talk to you later. Respectfully, I'm out.